These are 10 times when the Simpsons went abroad. The Simpsons travel to Denmark in hopes of getting free healthcare for Grandpa. Throw Grandpa from the Dane begins when Homer and Marge accidentally flood their house by piercing the water pipe when they were trying to get a picture on the wall. So they get paid an enormous amount of money from the insurance company. When Grandpa heard about this, he came to Homer to ask for financial help.
Oh no. No. This is the most precious kind of money there is. Unearned.
Don't be so selfish, Homer. It's your father, after all. Grandpa tells them that he needs an operation, but he won't tell which. They take him to the doctor, but healthcare is very expensive in the US.
In Denmark, to pick a country at random, healthcare is free.
Homer tells Lisa that nothing is free. In Denmark, they pay very high taxes, as opposed to the US.
It's called socialism.
Socialism? But all my radio loudmouths tell me to hate that.
Well, no wonder Homer's all-American radio station is against socialism. Grandpa comes back from the doctor and says he can't do anything for him, but then Marge had the idea to use the insurance money to fly to Denmark, have a vacation, and have Grandpa fixed.
Well, Homer, looks like Marge is the boss in your house.
He ain't wrong. They fly to Denmark, and there, their host Soren tells them a little about his country. He tells them that the schools are all first class, along with
sleek furniture design, energy independence, and brooding TV dramas about teenagers getting killed.
Only the most important info, of course. Soren wants to show them the town, and it's safe to say they experienced cultural shock at its highest level. Everyone is holding hands and showing love openly. People are biking everywhere.
How crowded are your bicycle superhighways?
Lisa, embarrassed, says they don't have any.
But how many people ride bikes in your town?
The paper boy, till Dad hit him.
No wonder America has obesity problems. Homer and Grandpa intend to stay the day trying to get Grandpa injured, because that's the only way a Danish hospital will treat him for free. But Marge is really starting to like it here.
Can you imagine how exciting it would be to live in this city?
Ooh, Mom, we could try it for a semester.
Are the Simpsons moving to Denmark? Bart and Lisa even learn the national anthem, and they're also starting to get along with each other now.
Homer, can you take the daring step of doing nothing and staying here?
He could, but he won't. Homer thinks of a list of reasons why they shouldn't stay in Denmark, each stupider than the previous.
Excuse me, white trash.
Is this the kind of country you want to live in?
He later finds out that they separate the trash by colors, and it was a misunderstanding. Not everyone is rude like the people Homer's used to. Homer can't believe they're even considering the option of leaving Springfield. He ends the conversation by taking Grandpa to get him badly injured.
Time to get you in the hospital so we can go home.
They try and try, but no luck. Soren suggests the Kronenborg Castle because he heard another tourist took a bad fall there. Marge takes this opportunity to try and convince Homer one more time.
It's healthy, it's clean, it's incredibly civilized, and everything is done in moderation.
So basically, everything Homer is not. Marge tells Homer to think about it, and he does in the most Shakespearean way.
I'm an American, and we've got to get back to America, the greatest country on earth. 1917 to 2016.
Let's just forget everything before 1917. Homer and Grandpa get to the big stairway, and Homer goes to push him. But then Grandpa reveals what procedure he needs.
You made us come here because of a stupid tattoo?
Grandpa shows Homer a tattoo of Mona's name on his chest.
Mom?
No, Mona Lisa. Jeez, Homer, get a grip. Homer talks about how he misses her and starts crying a bit when a woman approaches them and says how she admires him for expressing emotions in a public place.
I'm a married man.
She says that marriage isn't such a sacred institution in Denmark.
Perhaps it's because we're more sensitive to each other's needs.
But then she adds that it could also be due to Danes being extremely hot. She asks Homer to dance, and Marge sees them.
Oh my God.
Marge!
Well, she definitely ain't coming home with him now. Marge tells him she wants to stay because she's never felt more alive and free. She even stopped wearing a bra.
That means they're just one fabric away from the cool Scandinavian air.
Let that be the thing you'll be thinking about on your flight back home. He and Grandpa leave, but then Homer realizes he can't let stubbornness ruin his marriage, so he comes back. And good thing he did, because Marge was starting to rethink living there.
Toilets in the shower. The washing machine won't even hold one pair of your underpants.
Well, in my humble opinion, that's better than living above nuclear waste, but fine. They agree to go back to Springfield. Well, everyone but Lisa, but no one ever listens to her. But I guess Grandpa just can't get enough of that foreign health care. The family takes Grandpa for another health checkup abroad. This time, it's Cuba. Havana Wild Weekend starts with Grandpa having a health problem again, and the doctors in America won't treat him for another 20 years. Then another veteran tells him he can go to Cuba and get fixed there for far less money than in the US.
Why don't we try Canada?
I don't want to go there, now that commie Trudeau is in charge.
Okay, now, Grandpa, don't lose your marbles over commies again. As they were traveling to Cuba, they talked about many, many things they were gonna see.
Don't forget Cuba's vibrant jazz scene.
Lisa, thanks for the warning.
They're ready to have some fun on this trip now. It's like they're forgetting why they're going there in the first place. They get to Cuba and see a doctor, but unfortunately, he can't do anything for Grandpa.
We took an exotic island vacation for nothing.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be a vacation. Then Grandpa sees a beautiful old car and a local guy offers to take him on a ride.
You, my friend, just had a Cuba-gasm.
Who wouldn't in a car like that, in a place like that? After the ride, Grandpa felt better than ever.
You've taken my dad back to a simpler time when our only worry was being obliterated by nuclear weapons.
Despite everything, I'd agree it was a simpler time. So Grandpa's feeling much better and eating a lot more, so the trip wasn't for nothing. And Homer's having a blast too.
I'm watching Castro. All the best world leaders have beards. Him, Santa Claus.
I bet the Cubans would disagree. Grandpa meets an old friend from the Air Force, and they get to talking, and he wants to take him somewhere. He takes him to a hijacked plane where he plans to open a club and wants Abe to invest.
You expect me to give you the money I was gonna leave to Homer? Okay, I'm in.
Convincing him didn't take long, for sure. Abe tells his family that he's staying in Cuba, but they're concerned. While he is better now, what's to stop him from getting sick or hurt on his own?
Son, all you see in me is a burden.
Well, he isn't wrong. Homer tracks him down to the newly opened airplane bar and asks him who are all these people and what is he doing here?
This guy was the biggest drug lord in North American history, and this guy invented Ticketmaster.
Oh, that punches from all of us. But then a woman who Abe thought was his girlfriend actually turned out to be a CIA agent who was there to capture fugitives from the U.S. law.
And when I saw you, I realized you'd be the perfect carcass to tempt these old buzzards.
She flies the plane back to the U.S., and Abe has to face the fact that he can't stay in Cuba.
Your place is with us, not on some island in the Indian Ocean. I love you.
Homer needs to freshen up his geography, but everything else he said was spot on. It's nice of Homer to take his dad to a tropical location, but it's time he took a trip just for himself. And for work. Homer gets transferred to India, but his wild American ways soon get him in a very strange position. Kiss Kiss Bang Bangalore begins with Mr. Burns telling his employees that he's outsourcing the plant, and only one of them will be coming with him to India.
You've been transferred to India?
Hey, Marge, it's what I gotta do to keep this family living in luxury.
What luxury? The painted-on watch or the old couch they sit on every day? So, Homer is on his way to India, and Marge got him a book on management to help him at his new job. But when he lands there, he seems confused.
You ignorant American. You have confused India with Indiana.
Oh, how did we not see this coming?
I took a job on the other side of the world. Oh, I hate this subcontinent.
Yeah, he's never been much for the East. Apu told Homer his cousin Kavi would help him out, but the description he gave him isn't very helpful.
Apu's cousin is medium height, dark complexion, brown eyes, black hair.
Could that be any more stereotypical? At his first day at work, Homer is supposed to tell the new workers of the plant how they run things. Of course, he doesn't know a single thing about that, but he uses the book Marge gave him.
In business, as in breakfast, fried eggs have fragile yolks.
Because that has everything to do with working in a nuclear power plant. The people are confused, but they decide to cheer Homer on so they could go back to work.
Oh, he's got the meeting out of his hand.
Yeah, because an MIT graduate just loves to hear about egg yolks at work. But Mr. Burns is delighted. Homer's great work has been outputting 10 times the power the American plant ever did. Has he ever considered that might be because he actually has skilled, trained workers? Mr. Burns decides to leave everything to Homer.
Sir, doesn't that corrupt?
Absolutely not.
Well, yeah, coming from him, being the absolute ruler is the best possible option.
When it comes to running a nuclear power plant, this man's a god.
Oh, don't tell him that.
I am a god!
Watch out, India. Soon you'll be worshipping a fat white man. And that actually happens. Mr. Burns calls Homer's family to come to India and try and talk some sense into him.
My dad has gone insane and thinks he's a god and broken off all contact with the outside world.
So basically he's acting the same way he did back home, just without his family. Smithers is bitter, but also kind of glad, because he was right about Homer all along.
You know, Smithers, I told you so has a brother. His name is Shut the Hell Up.
They get inside Homer's temple just as he's going to pit a monkey and an elephant against one another. Marge tells him to stop and that he's not a god, but he won't admit it and says he knows all.
Oh yeah? What's Mom's birthday?
It's, March.
Well, Marge, maybe this should be taken as one of the signs that your marriage is in shambles. Bart tells everyone that they don't need to worship Homer because he isn't actually a god.
We know that.
We follow him because of the secrets he tells us.
What, how to make the perfect barbecue sauce?
He told us of
overtime pay,
And coffee breaks.
and flex time.
Casual Fridays.
Oh, those secrets. Well, Homer, get ready to be fired.
In fact, he gave them to us in a binding contract. A bomb shabai means vote union.
Homer creating a workers' union in India really defeats Mr. Burns' outsourcing point.
Up until now, I was with you. But treating employees like human beings, that is madness!
In his corrupt tyranny world, yes, maybe. Lisa tells Homer that she's proud of him for being the first man to ever outsource the American worker's sense of entitlement and privilege.
Well, I'm just glad I'm not a god anymore. I want to go home.
Because all that worshipping was so hard to handle.
Well, I guess we'll have to relocate to an area where the workers are more desperate and ignorant. Springfield.
So, the power plant is returning to its mother country. Homer's very lucky, I guess, because he just keeps getting these jobs that take him and his family abroad, from India all the way to Brazil. Homer gets a job as a referee for the World Cup, so the Simpsons travel to Brazil once again. You don't have to live like a referee starts at the school where each kid had to tell the board about who their hero is. The person who has the best presentation wins a scholarship. Lisa's hero was Madame Marie Curie.
Madam Curie, we just might have this one in the bag.
Well, of course you do. Look who you're competing against. But just then, her hopes were crushed.
I give you Madame Marie Sklodowska Curie.
Oh, that Martin knows how to steal the light. Lisa storms out crying, but then Bart comforts her and tells her to talk about their dad. But she thinks it's a bad idea since everyone does that.
Everyone does that with good dads, but with our dad, it's like climbing Mount Everest.
He couldn't have used a better metaphor for describing Homer in a nice light. Lisa begins her speech with saying that her hero isn't famous.
Loser.
Isn't rich
Pathetic.
and isn't in any history books.
He makes me sick.
He's my dad.
That shook him out of his boots. Lisa continues to say how Homer worked 2 jobs to get her a pony, how he knows how to take a band-aid off without hurting, and how he had the guts to tell her she sucked at soccer.
In the history of soccer, he is the only parent to ever take sides against his own kid. And he was right.
Oh, that'll make a grown man cry.
So glad I was forced to come.
See? Told you so. The next day, Homer gets a visit from the executive vice president of the World Football Federation. He says they've been having problems with referees being bribed to throw games, and they need someone with integrity like Homer himself to step in.
Of course I am, but how do you know?
Oh, your daughter's speech went viral.
Not only did she help Homer's self-esteem, but she got him a job too, and a job at the World Cup. Homer works his first game, but the word of his incorruptibility spreads around to local criminals.
Well,
You don't know the new me of the last few days at all.
Wow, good for him refusing all that money, but it would have saved him a lot of financial troubles. They continue to try and bribe him, but he has Lisa in mind the whole time. Bart asks Homer if it's hard for him to refuse all those bribes.
But knowing that Lisa chose me as her hero without ever considering any other hero keeps me strong.
Oh, his happiness is about to be destroyed. Bart tells him the truth and it completely devastates him.
That's shattering. And now I'm a man in pain in the naughtiest city.
So the criminals find him and ask him if he's ready to fix the game now, and Homer agrees. Lisa hears them talking before the game and tells Homer not to do it. Homer is now being brutally honest, and, well...
The drawing you made of me when you were 3 was far from a perfect likeness.
Okay, people. Some shots were fired. Let's stop before someone says something they can't take back.
But when I made you my hero, you lived up to it and more. You became the hero I thought you could be, Dad.
This warms Homer's heart, and he decides to cross the gangsters. He judges the game fairly, and Brazil loses at the end.
I've never seen the Brazilians so depressed.
Well, they have to learn pain sometime. The gangsters wait for Homer after the game, and they're ready to kill him, when Marge steps in and starts talking them down in Portuguese.
How's she doing that?
I don't know, but she's my new hero.
Marge is surprised and a little offended that Lisa didn't consider her as her hero before. Oh, someone's going to be hearing it on the flight home. Marge tells the guy that she's a mother, and surely he has a mom too, so he can understand. And what do you know? His mom is the woman Lisa switched seats with on the flight here.
We owe a debt to the Simpsons that can never be repaid.
So let this be a lesson. Being nice to the elderly always pays off. Oh, how nice it is to travel to tropical locations, but I'm craving something more northern. Homer surprises Marge with a trip to Paris while smuggling endangered animal species. To Courier with Love starts with Homer noticing Marge isn't feeling so good.
I'm sorry, homie. Your life is full of fun surprises. My life sucks.
Well, there's only one person to blame for that. Homer wants to make Marge feel better, and like everything else in his life, a solution comes right to his doorstep. A guy passing by saw that Homer had a nice old car parked outside, and he wanted to see if Homer would sell it to him. He does, and he goes to surprise Marge.
We are going on the trip of our lives.
Really? Where?
In that moment, the doorbell rang, and Homer tells Marge to let her imagination run wild. And what do you know? It's the guy that bought the car. He wants his money back, because he saw another car he wanted to buy.
But I just promised my wife.
Yeah, well, she's used to being disappointed. So Homer is in a bit of a predicament here. Marge tells him she wants to go to Paris, but he has no money now. So he goes to a travel agency, and the guy gives him a proposition.
The mob, I mean the courier company, will pay airfare and hotel.
Then he adds that Homer just needs to deliver a package. But the only catch is, he's not to look at what's inside. Not suspicious at all. Homer agrees, and they're off to Paris.
Homer Simpson, just when I think you have nothing left to offer, you whisk me to the birthplace of existentialism.
Ah, the true love. But even though everything's great and Marge is happy, he can't not think about what's in the briefcase. So he opens it.
Oh, what a cute blue snoot!
The cover is blown, plus now he knows he's carrying a snake with him. Lisa finds out that the snake is a very rare and endangered species, but Homer tells her he can't break her mother's heart. Lisa tells Homer that he can't let anything bad happen to the snake, and he disagrees.
And you have to promise to preserve another endangered species. My marriage.
Homer whines that for the first time in human history, a snake has ruined paradise. Well, I recall something that happened many years ago involving a snake and paradise. They land in Paris, and what do you know? The guys that extorted Bart in season 1 are the ones who are supposed to take the snake and pay Homer. They give him the money, but he then runs off with the snake. The guys are annoyed that they stopped for a 7-course meal, letting Homer get away.
Maybe we should just have 6, like peasants.
Ah, the French. Homer and Lisa go to the Louvre and release the snake there. Well, they try to, but it won't leave the briefcase.
How did you find us?
All tourists come to the Louvre.
Yeah, they maybe should have gone to some less touristy place.
Don't patronize us.
They may have tortured Bart, but I bet they never met a kid as smart as Lisa. They managed to run away, but since they can't leave the snake anywhere, they have to keep it with them. Later, Homer and Marge were taking a romantic walk along the Seine when Homer had to come clean. Marge said she knew the brief was trouble.
Yes, this is my Battle of Essling. Unless Napoleon had a more famous defeat I'm not aware of.
Yeah, you may have heard of it in a song. Waterloo, I believe. But when they came back to their apartment, police were already there with the criminals searching for the snake. After some time, they didn't find anything, so they apologized and gave up.
Our family was falling apart like your European Union, and now we're better than ever.
That's the power of Paris. Homer can't believe they actually managed to have a good vacation.
In Paris, a lady makes her own luck.
And with hair like that, there's nothing they can't hide. We take the La Manche to travel from Paris to England, because Homer just can't get enough of breaking foreign laws. Bart gets a hold of a lot of money and takes the family to England. The Regina Monologues opens with Mr. Burns getting money from the ATM, but then the $1,000 he wanted flies away right into the hands of Bart. Marge tells him he should put up flyers to see who lost it.
Marge, this is why people don't tell you things.
Yeah, I'm starting to see it too, but when no one who came to claim the money turned out to be the rightful owner, Bart began to think what he could do with it. Lisa suggests that he should do something nice for Marge, because she's always doing so much for them.
Someday I'd like to go on a nice vacation.
Homer says they've been to plenty of great vacations. I don't know in what kind of delusion he lives.
But you always wind up kidnapped or on a chain gang.
Well, she is right. But after hearing Homer say that she gives up and tells Bart not to waste his money on her, Bart gets the idea to make a museum for people to come and see the $1,000 bill. And the turnout was great, up until Mr. Burns showed up and claimed the bill was his.
It's a perfect match.
Yoink.
Well, maybe he shouldn't have flashed it around so much. But after counting the money they made from the museum, turns out they have $3,000 now.
Bart, I don't care what Mom said. I think you should use this money to take her on a nice vacation.
Bart agrees, and they decide to go to London because of a story Grampa told them. It dates back to his military days when he met a nice girl in London.
Edwina, my slowly opening flower. I'm shipping out in the morning. Won't you make this night memorable?
But after their wild night, he forgot her. Up until now. Marge says she'd like to go to London only if Homer promises he'll be on his best behavior.
You have my word as a gentleman and a lady. Now let's see, which rifle should I bring?
Could he be any more white American supremacist? They get to England and Homer's already breaking his promise.
We saved your ass in Vietnam and shared our prostitutes with you, Grant. So give me some free map.
Homer adds he doesn't want to hear any dry British wit either, and the concierge sarcastically replies he wouldn't dream of it. He truly is the worst type of tourist. But Homer doesn't seem to notice how awful he's been the whole time.
Gotta admit, I've been on my best behavior this trip.
You punched out 3 people on the street.
Well, their standards sure are different. They rent a car, and for God knows what reason, Marge lets Homer drive. He seems to be doing great up until he enters a roundabout.
Turn, keep turning, keep turning.
They continue doing this for a few hours until Homer says he's had enough.
That's it. I'm acting the way America acts best. Unilaterally.
But this American confidence only got him so far. He hit the royal carriage, which had the Queen inside.
Your Majesty.
Dad, you rear-ended the Queen of England.
Now that's a royal beating. Homer goes to court and makes an even bigger fool of himself.
Why did you let him be his own barrister?
What difference could it make? He hit the friggin' Queen.
Seeing Marge so desperate really makes you wonder, why is she even keeping up with all of Homer's selfish behavior? Homer is put in prison and is to be executed the next day. He doesn't know what else to do except pray to the English god.
In return, I will spell the word color with a U, and I will use the metric system.
And he tries, but he can't even finish the sentence. That's how American he is. Lisa finds a secret tunnel that can lead Homer from his cell. But she didn't look good enough because it led him to...
Fit for a duke, or even an earl.
Now he even looks like a creep. He begs the Queen to have mercy on him.
But we Americans are England's children.
Yeah, I bet that'll do it. No English person can resist being told they're the first American settlers. The Queen lets him go on one condition.
That was very sweet of the Queen, letting you go in exchange for taking Madonna back to America.
A small price to pay for his freedom, really. And just as they were leaving, Abe's old girlfriend shows up with her daughter.
Well, 59 years ago, your mother and I were well, gotta go. See you in heaven.
Does Homer have a sister?
Lady, you're gorgeous. Why, thank you. You're all right, love.
Oh, that's creepy. Now let's travel from one island to another close by. Homer takes Grandpa to Ireland so he can reminisce on the days when he was young. In the Name of the Grandfather starts when Homer and the family forget Grandpa's special day at the retirement home.
The thing is, I ain't got much life left to live. And a wasted day like today is one I know I'll never get back.
Getting old sure is sad. Homer feels bad for disappointing Grandpa, so he tells him they'll do whatever he wants.
Have one more beer at O'Flanagan's pub. We'll do that one. This place is in Ireland?
That'll teach him to do some research before agreeing on anything. They get to Ireland, but it's not quite like Abe remembers it, and the pub he wanted to visit isn't the same.
This isn't the way I remember it. Where's the customers? Where's the singing? Where's 20-year-old me?
Well, everything but the last thing can be explained. The owner explains that once everyone got jobs, it got harder and harder to have a bar. Abe and Homer stay in the bar and get drunk, while Marge and the kids go sightseeing. The next day, the owner greeted them with some upsetting news.
There they are, Dunklederry's newest tavern keepers.
So there is a worse drunk than Homer, Homer's father. So not only did they buy the bar, but they bought a bar no one wants to go to. So they bring out the big guns.
Someone who can make money with a bar that has no customers and zero charm.
That's not a nice way to describe someone who has generously been stuffing beer down your throat for the past couple of years. Mo tells them that they need to let people do things in their bar that they can't do anywhere else.
It is certainly liberal when it comes to romance.
Homer sees that another bar won't let people smoke inside.
People can't smoke indoors in Ireland.
Then you let them. Open a smokeasy.
Isn't that, like, against the law? The bar quickly becomes popular amongst the smokers, and they have a full house.
Well, it looks like all your dir have come to.
Ah, my son's first stroke.
But then, the party was interrupted. Cops come inside.
So it's escaping you're thinking of then?
I can't tell if those are questions or statements.
The police ask Homer if they're criticizing their syntax now, but can you blame them? Homer and Grandpa go to trial, and boy oh boy, you'd think Homer would learn from all these times he was tried at court not to say such stupid things.
Who does smoking actually hurt? Except the smokers those around him, and the unborn children.
Well, that's about it, to be fair. The judge tells them that Homer's speech was absolutely terrible. But, lucky for them, the punishment is a small fee and deportation. Grandpa says that despite everything, he's glad he got to see Ireland again, even though it's not like he remembers it.
It got a lot nicer since we sent all our incompetent half-wits to America.
The judge adds that these incompetent people were then made into police officers. Not all policemen in America are incompetent.
Top of the morning to ya. Chief Clancy Wiggum here to pick up the Simpsons and take them back to the...
I retract my last statement. Ireland sure was fun, but now for the less fun trip. Under much sadder circumstances, Canada. Bart gets a girlfriend, but he treats her badly, so she takes revenge by dating Milhouse. The Bart Wants What It Wants opens with the Simpsons stumbling onto a private school fundraiser.
Dad, you told me there were no private schools in Springfield.
Homer says that if Lisa knew, then she'd want to go there, and that's a bad thing. Why? Bart sees some kids bullying a girl, and he defends her.
You were so brave to take on all those bullies.
If only she knew what kind of bullies he was dealing with at this school. Turns out her dad is Rainier, which Bart finds more interesting than the fact that the girl just asked him out. They have a little date the next day, and Bart is feeling a bit insecure about his social status.
Better stuffed with hay.
Bart, you're so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he finds any part of his last sentence funny. After, Greta and her dad come to dinner at the Simpsons' house, and she tries to hold Bart's hand.
What are you doing? Oh, I got you. 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a thumb war.
That wasn't what she was going for, Bart. He really is clueless. Bart keeps making more and more stupid mistakes. For their next hangout, he brought Milhouse. You can see the disappointment in Greta's face.
Oh, you brought someone.
Bad move, Bart. Really bad move. Greta asks Bart if he would like to go with her to a school dance, and he says yes. But when he hears that Skinner will be performing stand-up comedy that same day, he immediately forgets everything about Greta. Well, he doesn't forget. He's very aware of what he's doing.
That's it. I'm blowing off the dance. This is the biggest thing that's happened to me since chocolate milk.
He's such a little jerk. But the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Bart misses the dance to go and prank Skinner. But he won't get off that easy. Lisa tells Bart that Greta called, and it seemed that Bart had told her he was sick.
Lisa, I only lied because it was the easiest way to get what I wanted.
Well, at least he's honest now. Lisa tells him Greta is in love with him, and he shouldn't treat her like that. Bart says he'll dump her really bad, and then they'll go back to being friends.
Well, Bart, you really understand women.
Lise, women are easy. State capitals are hard.
Because in his mind, women are easy, in both ways.
And where were you?
Cockfight.
Such a primitive. Bart breaks up with Greta and she doesn't take it too well. The next day, he goes to her house to apologize for not softening the blow, and then...
Milhouse? Greta? Well, no one has to draw me a picture. Oh, but I did.
I said it once and I'll say it again. Worst friend ever. But that must hurt. Bart can't believe his eyes, and now he's starting to rethink his decision about breaking up with Greta.
Oh, Bart, it's human nature. You only want her because someone else has her.
That's the curse of being a man. That and prostate problems. Bart tries to get Greta back, but she tells him to give up because she's going with her dad to Toronto to shoot a movie.
You're going to Spain?
Goodbye, Bart.
Those state capitals really have a hold on him. Bart begs his parents to let him go to Toronto to fight for his girl.
This is for love, Dad. Someday you'll feel what I feel.
I can't figure out if he said the right or the wrong thing. Either way, they agree to go, and Bart and Homer get to Greta's dad's set.
Listen to me, son. No one loves a quitter, so you go over there and you win her back.
Wow, Homer actually had some encouraging words for Bart. That's a first. But as Bart was walking up to her, Milhouse blocks his way.
Milhouse, she's only dating you to get back at me. My therapist said that's all I could ever hope for.
Well, in that case, I'd back off, because that's just sad. But ultimately, their fight leads to Greta rejecting both of them. She told Bart he was too late, and Milhouse just wasn't masculine enough. So, they're both single again.
Are we still friends? Till the next one.
All is fair in love and war. When a girl runs away to a foreign country just to get away from you, it hurts. But when your friend betrays you, hurts even more. Carl runs away with the lottery money, and Homer, Lenny, and Moe are trying to find him. The Saga of Carl starts when Homer, Lenny, Carl, and Moe win the lottery, and they decide to make a party. Carl says he's gonna go and get the money while the rest of them prepare the party. But as time passes by, Carl wasn't coming back. They start to worry, thinking that he might have had an accident.
I'm glad we're the kind of people who are worried about Carl's safety instead of thinking that he ripped us off.
Maybe you should stop being those kinds of friends and start looking for the thief. I mean Carl. They wait for him some more, but then decide to see where he is. Homer says that the power of their friendship is amazing.
I don't feel at all suspicious of Carl.
Drive faster because of the power of friendship.
They get to Carl's apartment and he's gone. All packed up and gone. They might need to change their song.
Homer, Simpson, Lenny, Moe, and no one.
Homer and Moe are really upset, but Lenny says they should give Carl a chance. Maybe he'll come back. They find a note on the fridge which says that Carl went home, but no one knows where that is.
I still can't believe it was Carl who took your winnings. I thought it would have been you. Or you. Or you.
Valid point, Marge. Marge thinks that Carl may have had a good reason for what he did, and she asks the guys which country he's from. But when they don't know the answer, Marge is appalled.
Maybe if you talked less about guy stuff, you'd know more about your so-called friend.
She's right, but no one's gonna listen to her. The guys go back to the bar, and Homer notices there's something in the reflection of Carl's sunglasses in the picture Lenny brought with him.
He's looking at a geyser, and there's a sign in front of it.
Roker Geyser.
None of them know where that is, so they ask for help from Lisa. She tells them that the geyser is in Iceland, so that must be where Carl is from.
Iceland keeps the most detailed family records of any country in the world. There, Carl was adopted.
Another piece of information they knew nothing about. The three of them pack up and go to Iceland and ask around about Carl. They find out that Carl's family has been hated on for 1,000 years. His family were the Watchmen, but they failed at their duty.
Apparently, screwing over your friends is in Carl's blood. His adopted blood.
They go to Carl's family home and wait for him to get out. When he does, they follow him to town. They start chasing him down the street.
It's no use. We're perfectly matched.
Thankfully, none of them are in any shape. They make Carl tell them why he stole the money, and he explains that he wanted to buy the missing page from the book that would clear his family name. Lenny asks him why he didn't tell them about it. They're friends.
I didn't tell you because we're not friends.
Ooh, the blow straight through Lenny's heart.
So all those years of hanging out meant nothing?
Not to me.
Lenny is heartbroken, but this can mean only one thing.
It's all out in the open. I guess it kind of makes it easier now for me to kill Carl!
Revenge time. They take the missing page from him, because in his words, they aren't friends. But then Marge calls and convinces them they should at least read what it says before destroying it.
But how can we learn to read ancient Icelandic?
With these.
Sure, dope your friends with ADHD meds or whatever those are. That's a great idea. They learn Icelandic and realize that Carl's family was even worse than Carl and the townspeople thought. So they come up with a plan. They gather all the people from the town and tell them a story about Carl Carlson.
But Carl Carlson's honor has been redeemed by the deeds of Carl Carlson.
They continue to list all good things Carl did for them over the years.
Carl Carlson is our friend, even if he doesn't believe it.
I'm not tearing up, you are.
The many small kindnesses of Carl Carlson have redeemed his family forever.
Well, that wasn't so hard. Carl's dad asks Carl how he could ever say that Homer, Lenny, and Moe aren't his true friends, and he breaks down completely.
I can't. I can't.
So, they made up, but it's a damn shame about that money. From the cold, cold Iceland, we travel to the warm and sunny Tuscany. The Simpsons travel to Italy, but they're met with a blast from the past. The Italian Bob starts with Homer being sent to Italy by Mr. Burns to pick up a car he ordered for himself. He asks Mr. Burns if he can bring his family along.
Sure.
Do I have to hang out with him?
It would be nice.
Well, he asked. They get to the car and start exploring Italy a bit before they return to the US.
They were frozen in whatever position they were in at the moment of their death.
Savages.
Yeah, they're the savages. As they were driving, a cheese truck overturned and the cheese crashed Mr. Burns' brand new car.
Don't worry, we got the cheese insurance.
It doesn't cover mortadella.
No!
They find a small village and try to talk to someone who knows English.
Why can't you people learn to speak my language? I learned to eat your food.
Because that's a great way to appreciate the country you visit. The lady tells them that the mayor speaks English, so they go to speak to him.
Sideshow Bob!
The Simpsons!
Small world, eh? Bart can't believe his eyes. None of them can.
Of all the Regioni and all the Villaggi in all of Italia, you had to be il Maori of this one.
Bob tells them that after many failed attempts to murder Bart, he decided to move to Italy. He stumbled upon this town, and the villagers took him in because his big feet were perfect for stomping grapes.
The next spring, the contadini elected me their mayor.
For a bad person, his luck sure is good. He's also married and has a kid.
I always thought you were, out loud and proud.
Well, I experimented in college as one does.
Wow, that just paints itself. But turns out Bob's wife doesn't know anything about his past, and he begs them not to say anything. They say they won't if Bob helps them with the car.
He's so wonderful. They must miss him in America.
Well,
I wouldn't say miss, but they are looking for him everywhere they go. Bob gets their car fixed, and at the final dinner before they embark on their journey home, Bob serves them the best wine. Unfortunately, Lisa has a bit too much.
Bob is a vaunted pillar of your community.
Yeah, but he's a wanted killer in our community.
Oh no, someone take the wine away from the 8-year-old.
He deserves to be hailed at this wingding.
More like jailed at Sing Sing.
Oh god, the secondhand embarrassment is rising. Lisa pulls Bob's suit, and it reveals his prison suit underneath, which I don't really understand. Why didn't he just take it off?
You have brought the shame upon our humble mafia-controlled village.
Well, what's another criminal to you then? Bob starts snarling, and the Simpsons get in the car and run off, but he starts chasing them.
Dad, you're driving on an ancient Roman aqueduct.
What am I supposed to use it for?
Not for driving. Bob's wife followed him and told him that if the Simpsons have brought shame on him, they brought shame on his family too.
Revenge is a dish best served family style.
Psychos. They see that Krusty is doing a new show at the Coliseum, so they run there to ask for help. Now, the people who arranged that are even worse psychos. He tells them to put the costumes on and be on stage with him, because Bob won't kill them in front of an audience. But apparently, they don't remember Bob's love for the opera.
It's so beautiful.
That's Sideshow Bob.
I know.
Bob and his wife and his son circle around the Simpsons when Krusty shows up on stage in a car and saves them.
Well, I need someone to help me smuggle antiquities to America.
Always doing stuff for his personal gain. But they escaped without Mr. Burns' car, so we'll see about that when they get back to the US. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel.